Is Moses Itauma being ducked? Or is Moses Itauma doing the ducking? Guys, we need to have an open and honest conversation about the matchmaking surrounding Moses Itauma, because it is quite strange. By now, we should have had an official fight announced for December, because a few months ago, Frank Warren came out and said that Moses Itauma was going to fight this year, and that was going to be on the undercard for Derek Chisora. And we were waiting for a fight to be announced. Now, on this channel, we reported that Moses Itauma had turned down the IBF eliminator fight with Frank Sanchez, which at the time I thought it was quite suspicious.
Let me just ask you, there was reports about rejecting the IBF final eliminator with Frank Sanchez. So what was the reasoning behind that? Can you just tell me about that?
There is no decision being made on anything at the moment. What we're doing, we're looking and we make the right moves at the right time. It's 20 years of age. That's the bottom line of it. You know, and we will guide them like we guide our fighters most of the time correctly and pick the right moments and the right time to make the right fights. You know, a couple of fights I want to make, we're not been able to make because people either price themselves out asking for money they'd get for world title fights, or they just don't fancy it. Once he wins a world title, everyone will want to fight because they'll earn money, but they'll be fighting for a world title. At the moment, everyone's jockeying in position because they're wondering what Mr. Usyk's going to do.
That was an opportunity to fight for the IBF title later on down the line, and the team decided not to take that fight. And then the Pulev fight, which was ordered pretty much, that fell into the waters. We did not know what happened with that fight, and the talk died down. And then recently, I heard that they were going to try and make the David Adeleye fight, and once again, that also died, and the talks just went away. So what is actually going on with Moses Itauma? Why have we not had an official fight announced yet? Because we're only 2 months away from the fight date in December. And by now, as I said, Moses Itauma should have an official fight announced to fight in December. This is very suspicious. And the reason why I say this is suspicious is because there's been a trend here. About 2 months ago, I made this video and I mentioned 5 fighters that I believe would give Moses Itauma big problems in the ring. And I talked about someone like Andy Ruiz, because I think that would have been a really good fight. I think it's a very winnable fight for Moses Itauma because Andy Ruiz is not the same Andy Ruiz we knew a few years ago. I think he's off the pace. I think Moses Itauma would perform better in that fight. I think Ruiz would give Itauma some problems, but he will do better. I also mentioned Jerome Miller, who is a bully. I think he will press Moses Itauma. I think he will give Moses Itauma something to think about. But in the end, I think it's going to be a punching bag and Moses Itauma is going to get rid of him easily. And I talked about someone like Agit Kabayel. Now, I understand why they wouldn't take that fight, because for me, Agit Kabayel is a top 3 heavyweight currently, and I think he will beat Moses Itauma. So there's a number of fighters that I mentioned in that video, and I talked about why I believe a lot of the fights, apart from Agit Kabayel, were winnable fight for Moses Itauma, and they are competitive fight for Moses Itauma. I have said it on many occasions on this channel that what we need from Moses Itauma is we need to see him in a very good fight. And I say in a good fight where he's been tested, because I think Moses Itauma is untested. He is unproven. So far, everything has gone his way. He's beaten the likes of Marius Wack and Dillian White. But these are wins that is meant to make him look good. These are wins that is meant to make his CV look exceptional. If you look at Moses Itauma's CV, you go, oh, he's beating Dillian White. Oh, he's beating Marius Wack, who is very durable. That is good. But actually, he has not been tested. We don't know what Moses Itauma is like when he's hit on the chin. We don't know what Moses Itauma is like when he has to come behind to win a fight. We don't know what Moses Itauma is like when he's knocked down in a fight and he has to get up off the canvas to show something. We don't know what Moses Itauma is like when he has to adapt in a fight where the style is very awkward for him. We do not know. There's so many questions. There's so many things that we did not know about Moses Itauma. So I am thinking Moses Itauma needs a fight. He needs a fighter that can push him, that can give him rounds in a fight. And so far, what we have seen is they've turned down Frank Sanchez, who, in my opinion, would give Moses Itauma some rounds in there. David Adeleye, although I think Moses Itauma is better than him, I think he'll come to fight because he's got something to lose. Pulev fight, thank God that did not happen, because I thought that would have been a fight where Moses Itauma will knock Pulev out in 1 or 2 rounds, and that will be sold as a massive win. So I'm happy that that fight did not happen. But why are we still waiting for a fight for Moses Itauma? This is my question, and I want you guys to get in the comment section and let me know what you think about this. Why are we still waiting for a fight for Moses Itauma? What is the wait here? What is the catch? What is the team thinking about? I think it's one of many things. And I think the question that we need to ask ourselves in this situation is, are they wanting Moses Itauma to fight a young, fresher fighter that can push him, that can give him rounds, that can provide some adversity, that can ask some questions? Or are they looking for Moses Itauma to fight an older fighter that has a name but has not much to prove? Because if it's an older fighter that has a name but does not have much to prove in the ring, then Moses Itauma is going to blow them out in 1 or 2 rounds and it's going to look good on his CV. But if it's a young, aggressive, and a fighter that is looking to build his career, that has something to lose, then I think it's going to be an interesting fight for Moses Itauma. And maybe, just maybe, his team are thinking, we need to make the right decision in terms of getting someone that has a name but hasn't got much to prove anymore in his career. Moses will knock him out and it will be great. I think it's the latter. I think that is what they're trying to do, because there are so many fights that they can take. There's so many fights that they can make for Moses Itauma. Jared Anderson is exactly a fighter that Moses Itauma should be looking to fight right now, because he will come to fight. He's got something to lose. He will ask some questions. He will feel like he can beat Moses Itauma because he will feel like he's had the more experienced fight than Moses Itauma. And these are the type of fighters we need to see Moses Itauma in there with, rather than old, over-the-hill fighters that he will knock out in a few rounds. So, look, you guys get in the comment section, guys, and let me know what you think about the plan here with Moses Itauma, because by now, there should be a fight announced officially for him to get in the ring in December and to fight, because he needs to fight. He's a prospect coming up. He's touted to be the next big thing in the heavyweight division. So he needs to fight 2-3 times a year, because that is how he's going to develop. He's going to build the experience. But so far, they've turned down a whole host of fights and it's not looking good, because a lot of the fans are catching up to things. And a lot of the fans are looking at this going, why are they turning down fights? What are they looking for here? It is suspicious. It does not smell good. Let me know what you think about it in the comment section below, guys. Moses Itauma so far do not have an official fight announced. They've turned down a lot of fights. What is going on? My name is Bright. This is the Bright Show Podcast Boxing. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you guys on the next one.